So what up, y'all? I hope all is well. HBCU, our culture. HBCU stands for Homecoming Brings Culture and Unity. And it's nothing like unity. We get some Midwest swag. I know I'm from Cincinnati. It's cold in the D right now. So we got a Detroit native. So cold. But we got a Detroit native. She went to school with us at TSU. So Starr, introduce yourself, where you're from, your journey to an HBCU, and you got to let us know about your nonprofit.
Awesome. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you guys for allowing me to be on your podcast show. I really appreciate it. So if you guys don't know, for the viewers, my name is Starr Essence. I am originally from Detroit, Michigan, graduated from the best HBCU in the world. That's Tennessee State University. I graduated with an accounting degree, with a bachelor's in accounting. And then I went to Argosy, where I got my master's. And so I got a master's in with my MBA. I also have a nonprofit organization called Morningstar International, which is a youth organization located here in Atlanta, Georgia, as well as Detroit, Michigan. We've been in business for, about 15 years. So we've been making an impact for sure, but we've been in business for about 15 years, and I'm just excited that we're continuing to grow and make an impact in the lives of young people. We service students between the ages of 9 through 19, and we help them with college preparation, entrepreneurship, financial literacy, and also helping them find careers in STEAM programs, such as science, technology, engineering, arts, and medical. So that's what we do at Morningstar International. And I'm also a book author. I wrote my first book called Guide Me to College, 10 Vital Steps Every Urban Youth Need for College in 2017. I think that was, that's been a minute. But I wrote my first book in 2017 to help more people like myself graduate from college and also prepare for college with the right tools and resources that wasn't necessarily available for urban youth. So that's what I do, and that's who I am. And I'm looking forward to talking more and you guys getting to know me on this podcast.
Yeah, let you talk about this book. Like, I can't say I know a lot of authors. So we definitely wanted you to tell us more about this book. How is it doing? And, do you have something coming next?
Oh, that's an awesome question. The good thing is, as you already know me, I do have something next coming up. So I have I can't tell you what it is just yet.
You can't do that. You can't just, it's like what, mouse?
Do a teaser there. Put a teaser right there.
It's a surprise. It's coming very soon. Hopefully it'll be launched in March 2023.
Tell people how they can go find this once it gets to that point of launching.
So the next product will be available in March of 2023. It is a surprise. It's a tool. I will tell you that much. It's a tool that African Americans can use for college preparation, as well as it's something that not only students can use, but also parents can use it as well. Actually, anybody can use it, to be honest with you. So it doesn't really matter your age group or, what school you're going to or whatever the case may be, you'll be able to use this tool. But to tell you more about Guide Me to College, I am excited because Guide Me to College is still one of the highly requested books by students who are going to college or preparing for college. Recently, I just did a tour, not really a tour, but like I was asked to come back to speak at a particular church here in Atlanta to talk more about Guide Me to College and also provide them with resources and information about college readiness and just getting students prepared for college, regardless of what school they decide to go to.
So did you wake up one day and say, I want to write a book? Like, how was that process, and how was the publishing process? Like, so walk us through the book. Now, now they have a thing called Open Chat GPT that can do it all for you. You know what I'm saying? But back then you had to do it yourself. So walk us through the process of doing it, publishing, and like what made you want to do the book in the first place?
That is a good question. The reason why I chose to do the book is because I saw a need in our community, especially like a lot of kids want to go to college, you know, teachers telling them they need to go to college, but nobody actually showing them how to prepare for college, how to apply for scholarships and grants. What are the financial responsibilities they have in regards to the college that they choose to go to? So as I'm in the nonprofit world with Morningstar International, we had all type of students always requesting like, hey, how do I get in this college? What do I need to do to get this scholarship or get this grant or whatever the case may be? And I saw that there was a gap in that information, like somewhere between graduating from, high school and trying to go to college, there was a disconnect somewhere. So I decided, actually, it was it was spoken to me to start, you know, finding different ways to, you know, have multiple streams of income for one, and then also two, finding a way to make an impact. And so to be honest with you, one day I just decided, you know what, this book has been on my heart for so long. Let me just go out and see what I got and go for it and do it. And so one weekend I went to Destin, Florida and wrote the book in a weekend and self-published and went through that process. I think it was Amazon Create Space process, which you self-publish. And that's what I did. I think now it's called Amazon Publishing or something like that. But that's what I went through and published the book on my own, paid for it, and that's how it happened.
Yeah. So all y'all watching, the link is below. So y'all can just go ahead and get the book. Click the link, support Miss Starr. That's amazing.
Oh yeah, you can go to starressence.com.
So did you have someone like review it, like your word and editing? Like, what was that process like?
Oh yeah. Oh my God.
You say you wrote it in the weekend. I'm like,
I wrote it in a weekend. I did it all by hand. So if anybody don't know, I'm like very old school. So I had my little notebook and I'm writing everything by hand on the beach, and I was just in a zone. And then I came back and put it in a computer digital format. And then I had to get an editor. And I also had to I got two editors. The first editor didn't go as planned. And then I got a second editor, and they had to go through all of my poor grammar and all that good stuff.
So how was that process finding an editor? Was it like word of mouth?
One of my homegirls at the time, her sister was a publisher and an editor, and she edited my book. Yeah.
So the real question is, how many cups of coffee did you drink that weekend doing a whole book?
Well, once again, if you know me, I don't drink coffee, but I do drink tea. But I didn't drink anything. I don't think that weekend. To be honest, I was just in a zone. Like, let's get it done.
So there's no sleep involved, really?
No, not for real. Mm-mm.
So talk about the book. What is your favorite chapter and why?
Oh, that's a hard one. You can't say what's your favorite.
Which one did you enjoy most providing the dialogue behind? How about that?
I understand what you're saying.
When you feel like I'm gonna get this tea to the world, like they need to hear this.
I would say chapter 1, and that is why college is important to you. A lot of times people go to college just because they trying to impress whoever, or want to go to college because their teacher told them they had to go to college, or their mom and dad went to college, so they want to follow in their footsteps, or they just following the trend right now. Oh, I want to go to a HBCU, but they really don't know why college is important to them. So chapter 1 is helping them identify, why is college important to you, and why do you want to go to college? Not why do your parents want you to go to college, but why do you want to go to college? So that they can understand what it takes to not only get into college, but also graduate from college.
Why did you go to college and choose the Tennessee State University, Atlanta Golden Sunshine?
The reason why I chose to go to TSU is because, actually, I think TSU chose me, to be honest. I actually went on a Black college tour. I had my mind made up. I'm going to FAMU. That's the school I wanted to go to. So I'm like, I'm going to FAMU. I already know where I'm going, so it really doesn't matter. And then I went on a Black college tour, did it was like 12 HBCUs, and TSU was the last school that we went to. And I was like, I like this school, like the vibe, the environment. People were in the student center at the time when I actually went on the tour. And so I was like, it's something about this school I like. And it was just a feeling like,
What year was this? This was your senior year or junior year?
Yeah, this was my senior year in high school.
Basically, you went on your college tour right before you graduated.
Correct. We went spring break 2000.
Okay.
I had my mind made up. I was going to FAMU.
So you had your mind up, you going to FAM. TSU was the last stop. What were some of these other schools?
So we went to all the top HBCUs, as you know. There's some top 10. So we went to Howard, we went to Xavier, we went to Dillard, we went to Fisk, Hampton, Alabama State. It was about 12 of them. Spelman, Clark Atlanta, Morehouse, all those different places.
So I've heard good things about Hamptons, like the way it looks. Did that kind of grasp you by any chance?
I wouldn't tell a lie. When I went on Hampton campus, I was like, "Ooh, I can see myself here." Yeah,
I hear people say when we go visit, like people's like, "Oh, it's beautiful." Like they have a beautiful.
It's beautiful. I was like, "Ooh, I can see myself going here." The only thing that I wasn't feeling at Hampton at that time was like the student atmosphere. Like it was almost a little too bougie for my taste, you know. So I was just like, they seem a little stuck up a little bit.
So on a tour, was it on a Monday or on a Wednesday that y'all went? You said the student center was popping. So was it student center?
It was during the week, and it was students there. I don't even remember like if it was something going on like Greek or whatever, but I just remember seeing people in the student center and then meeting some people that we saw in the student center and hanging out by. Boy, it was just like, oh yeah, these my folks right here. Like I felt like I was at home. Like, oh, this my family.
It's crazy you say that because, like, that's how I mean, other reasons too, right? Because, I mean, whole other story about my high school years, how my grades was just horrible. Like, I had like a 1.9. So TSU was like one of the only ones that accepted me. But, like, I went on a Black college tour too, man. We went on a Wednesday, and I fell in love with TSU.
Wow.
You know, I think it's something about the Black college tours, man. Like, I don't know if they still have those anymore. But
they still have them, yeah.
Okay, yeah, like that. If not for the Black college tour, I wouldn't have known about TSU. But yeah, it was on a Wednesday too, man. It was popping at the student center. I said, but I'm going nowhere but here.
Yeah,
it's funny to hear those stories, Starr, because we asked that question to a lot of people we've interviewed have went to Tennessee State, and we kind of asked them the question and how it came about. And my line brother, we interviewed. He's a head basketball coach here in Baltimore area. And he said he went to a couple of different campuses, and he said he went to Georgia Tech, Georgia State, some small schools, and then he said he came to TSU, and it was homecoming. And he knew the first couple of hours, he was like, I'm going to school here. I don't care what no other school say, I'm going to TSU. I was like, wow, like, and we had a couple other people say, like, yeah, I was, TSU homecoming, like I came to visit campus around homecoming. And it's like, I don't think people understand the vibe and our culture, which is another reason why we wanted to bring exposure to HBCUs, because it's different. Like, if you didn't go there, like we have people that come to our tailgate and we used to be like, you alum, like we taking you in because you come so much. But they understand like the party vibes and the fun, but they don't understand the day-to-day and these relationships we gain with, like you from Detroit, Mario from Cincinnati, I'm from Memphis. And, we have all these different personalities on campus, and you don't get this from nowhere. And we interviewed Charles, and he was saying how we need to give back more. And he was like, man, like TSU, like he's like, we all on this podcast because of TSU. He said, we owe TSU that. Like he said, if we didn't go to TSU or TSU didn't exist, it wouldn't be us. We wouldn't be talking to each other. We would know each other. TSU, just the network alone, we owe TSU. And I was like, I never looked at it that way. He was like, we always forever in debt for TSU. Like he said, think about all of our friends, all of our different network circles, how many people are successful from Tennessee State, and we still have that network where my next door neighbor, Corey Phillips, just got the job with Dion, and I can shoot him a DM like, hey, we want to interview you. Like like he was my next door neighbor. You know, my guy across the hall, Mario Payne, doing big things as a financial advisor. Yourself, you know what I'm saying, from the D, where it's cold at, you know.
Y'all better stop
where it's
saying
cold
that.
at the D.
I don't live in Detroit no more.
You still got the accent though. We all know you from Detroit. You still got the accent.
What up, though? But yeah, so but Charles was basically saying that, you know, like we're forever in debt to TSU because they brought us to a meeting place and we just happened to take everybody in. You know, I was talking to CeeLo today and I was like, man, you like the GOAT TSU DJ. Like, I don't care who was before you and who was after you. During the time frame I was at Tennessee State, you was our DJ. I didn't know DJ before I knew DJ CeeLo. Like, I was like, oh, this is like a thing. Like they take this serious. And he was at all the clubs every time at the student center. I'm like, bro, you my DJ for life. You know what I'm saying? Like in that time frame and era, you know, we can't trade that in for nothing. And back to what you were saying, Starr, about it being a trend thing now, you know, it is becoming a trend. I would say it's a good trend because TSU first time in history had its biggest enrollment, which was good, but also we got some bad press behind it because we couldn't house all the students. So it's like it's like we win one and then we take 2 steps back.
Yeah, totally agree with the conversation you and Charles had. If it wasn't for TSU, like he said, we won't even be having this podcast right now. And to be honest, if we look at our lives, we probably won't be where we are, financial wise, mental wise, social wise, even spiritually, because Bishop Walker was on campus, you know, doing services for like a couple of years. Yes. And that's where we went to get our spiritual, you know, development. So just keep, you know, if it wasn't for TSU, we wouldn't even be where we are right now. So that's another reason why I decided years ago, you know, to give back to TSU through the I Am a Starr Scholarship Foundation. We have to give back. I totally agree with that. We have to give back to those who come after us so we can continue to make an impact long after any of us throw up them deuces, you know?
You allowed me 1 year to talk in front of the students about like my journey and kind of what I do. So like, how'd you come up with the scholarship? And like, what made you want to do it first and foremost? And how's that process been?
It was hard at first, to be honest with you. So it was a conversation that was brought up between my board and with Morningstar International. Like, how can we give back to our alma mater? That's what I'm trying to say. How can we give back to our alma mater? And so at that time, a lot of my board went to HBCUs. So a couple of them went to Clark Atlanta, and of course I went to TSU. So I'm like, okay, well, if we gonna do it, let's make it happen. And so I looked into how to start a foundation at TSU, and I was like, oh man, we got to put up how much money? Because at that point, you know, Morningstar barely had $1,000. Let's just be real, that we can give away like that, you know. So we trying to hold on to every penny that we got, you know, just to make ends meet. But anywho, like $2,000 to start your scholarship at TSU at the time. So I'm like, okay, how are we going to raise $2,000? So it was so funny because I had reached out to some people in my network, like, hey, I need you to give me $100 so I could start this scholarship. And I didn't get the response that I wanted. And I'm like, dang, how am I raise, you know, this $2,000? But make a long story short, a blessing came through and somebody actually gifted us $2,000 and we started the scholarship, and it's been going on ever since. So we give students, out-of-state students, $1,000 a year to continue their education at TSU.
Can you also tell us, because you said the board, you just kind of dropped that like it was nothing. I know that's a process. So let us know from a corporate and a nonprofit side, why is it so important to have a board and how those difference of opinions helps Morningstar today?
Well, if don't nobody know anything about nonprofit world, in a nonprofit world, even though I'm the founder of Morningstar International, I am not the decision maker. The board is the governing body of the nonprofit. So they have to make the decisions on how the operations of Morningstar is, how it functions throughout the year and throughout the years to come. So with the board that I had at the time, because they addressed that situation of giving back to their alma maters, that's how that situation took place at TSU. Now, unfortunately, those members of the board are no longer on the board, but we still continue to make an impact at TSU by continuing put money into that particular fund to make sure students continue their education at TSU.
Only TSU or any other institutions?
Only TSU at the moment. Our goal is to still go back to start a fund at Clark Atlanta. So that's will be our next one.
Can't help the hometown.
I think there was one, but it closed down. It might be back open now. It was I want to say Lewis College of Business, something like that.
You've been doing Morningstar for quite some time. I've seen your journey, and I remember when you were starting it, how you kind of came up with the name and things of that nature. But what would you tell a person or a graduating student of HBCU advice on starting a nonprofit?
One thing that I wish I would have took advantage of when I was in undergrad is testing the market before I graduated. And what I mean by that is actually, like, say for an example, if you are a current college student and you want to start a business, whether it's a nonprofit or for-profit, actually testing your product and or service on campus while you have access to multiple different types of people and resources and your professors who you can get information from and just help, and also get mentors, and just test the market before you actually try to put yourself out here as an entrepreneur. Because anyone who's an entrepreneur already know this is not an easy game.
Oh, word, baby.
This is hard work.
Word. I'll text my mom today. So this is hard work.
This is not for the faint at hearted. Okay. So if you are a college student that's listening to this podcast and you want to become an entrepreneur and you want to start a nonprofit or for-profit, test the market on your campus before you come out here into the real world to make sure that you have the right tools, that you have a product that people want, and then also too that you have a network of people that you can pick their brain about your product, also ask for advice from your professors, and just get more information. You have access to so much stuff on campus that you can probably write a business plan in a week just with the resources you have.
That's some free jewelry right there. I ain't think about it like that, but yeah, starting a clothing brand. Yeah, if I had started it 20 years ago, who knows, you know what I mean? Because I was right there on campus with everything that was going on in the early 2000s. So that's some great advice. Great advice.
You had a tall tease then, huh?
Tall tease. I probably would have, because I'm trying to sell it out everywhere. Yeah, I feel like it was out. They couldn't keep them in stock. 3XL. They like, we don't get now. We got these small and mediums though.
Bro, looking back at those pictures, man, it's like, what was we doing, bro?
And I had a 3XL platinum FUBU jean fit. 3XL.
That's crazy.
Bro, I don't even know how I was in that. I had a 2XL velour jogging suit. Who was it? What was the name of that brand? Academics or something like that?
Oh, Academics, yeah.
Yes, I had a velour. I got it from Fat Caps. I wore it for homecoming. Man, that jogging suit was so big. I was like, what was I thinking?
That's crazy.
But that was the style back then. Everybody wore baggy clothes.
Big, oversized clothes.
Man.
Yeah. So talk about TSU. Was you purged when you was at TSU?
Who wasn't? Who wasn't purged?
Hey, it's a community that wasn't purged. I'm part of it. We had a couple more individuals that wasn't purged. So it's a couple of us out there.
Hey, I was purged. And I'm like, wait, what's going on? My money ain't come in yet.
How long did it take for you to get your classes? Did you lose any class?
Oh, God. I remember just being frustrated. Y'all know how them financial aid lines used to be at TSU. Like, what the heck? Why is it taking so long? I got to come back tomorrow. Are you sure my class is going to be available tomorrow? Like,
we ain't making no promises.
Yeah, that was a process within itself. Like, yeah.
Well, speaking of getting purged, I worked at Howard University about 5 years ago, or a little bit over 5 years ago. They implemented purging one semester. It lasted one semester. Students in the hallway crying. They in the what they call the A building, which was our like administrative building. They were in the hallways crying. They were protesting. President said, "Okay, no more purging." That stopped that semester. No more. I said, I'm on campus like, what y'all crying for? Like, they used to do that all the time at TSU. Like, you put your classes in, you had to finish 8. I was like, y'all got my classes. What they were money coming in? Like, oh, y'all ain't got it yet? Hold on. I'm calling the money people. Like,
right. You calling Sally Mae or whoever.
You like, I'm on top of it because I got Miss Scales at 5 o'clock at the business building, and I can't not have that class. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and I need that class. Like, I need it because I don't want the other professor because they crazy. I need Dr. Scales. Okay.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to tell people. Like, they talk about getting purged. It's like you lose that particular class with everybody in it, and they got like one class, and if you don't get in it, next semester for you, and that's delaying graduation. And yeah, it's just a mess getting purged. So I was always on top of my information because I didn't want to be that person got purged.
Oh, I got purged, honey. I remember those days. Mad as hell. Sorry for cussing.
One thing I can say though, right? Because as you guys know, I'm on the foundation board. Like, so when that happens, we do have funds in place now that helps individuals. You have to have at least 2.5 GPA though. If you got like a 1.9, like I did in high school, we can't help you. But if you had a 2.5 or better, and it's like a certain dollar amount that you don't owe, and then we actually take care of it for you. So
yeah, that's similar to I Am a Star scholarship at TSU. So ours is I think it's a 2. It might be a 2.2 or something. Ours is kind of low to help those upperclassmen when they run out of money, you know, like how you run out of money with financial aid. So once they run out of money, they can use the I Am a Star scholarship to help them continue their education. But it's only for, our scholarship is only for juniors and seniors.
Okay. So Starr, y'all do the big check at homecoming, like at the game and stuff?
Not at the game, but we do, when we used to have the Real Talk Symposium, we had the big checks at one point. Mario, we need help in trying to get that back for this homecoming.
The big check?
Look, I need that plug.
The network.
You do a building? Because you were using, what building did you use before?
Humanities.
Humanities building. They don't let you do it no more?
I didn't do it last year. They, I don't know what they got going on, but yeah, we couldn't do it last year for whatever reason.
What kind of turnout you was getting, Starr?
So like freshman head to come to those. Yeah.
Yeah. Nah. Definitely ping me like a month or so before, and I'll definitely give the administration and see if we can get you a building. It'd be slick to get that new building. You know what I'm saying? That
new building. Woo-hoo.
Yeah, that new building is slick. So that'd be slick. But yeah, I'll definitely try to pick up the phone and make something happen.
So to that point, Starr, we was I went to Watson Hall, and me, Mario, Jamie walked through the halls. We like, oh man, like they still got this, like, oh, like all these things. And we met some students that were like looking at us, and they were just kind of like, y'all alumni? We like, yeah. They were like, oh, for real? They was like, oh, can we ask y'all some questions? Like, it's for a grade. We like, yeah. So they was just like, where'd you go here? Why do you come back to, campus for homecoming? And then they just kind of got into some personal stuff, like, man, like how you get over homesickness, and man, I got a girl, but like she ain't here. Like it was just like all kind of stuff. Like I was talking to these kids for like an hour. Like we head to the pet rally, and I'm like talking to these kids on the steps. Like, hey man, take my number. I got a clothing brand. I want to shoot you some stuff, and I want you to wear it on campus. Tell me, get some guys kind of feedback. And like it was like 3 or 4 of them. They kind of walked up and was like, oh yeah. Like I was like, that's kind of cool that the professors like push them to be like, if you see somebody on campus and they look like they're not a student, like ask them their alumni and kind of get their quick story that you'll never forget. I said, think about it. I said, we graduated 20 years ago, bro. Like we up here, like at homecoming, like I said, we at homecoming, like this gonna be y'all in 20 years. And they was like, yeah, man. And I was like, this is my next door neighbor. He stayed down the hall, and like these my brothers, like, and we all from different states. And they was just kind of like, wow. And I'm like, yeah, man, like y'all lives gonna like transform. Just give it time. Like this your freshman year, first semester, give it some time. So I enjoy kind of speaking to them and giving them that hope that they would be like, wow, like I can be like you. And it's like, yeah, like definitely. Like trust me, I ain't even done growing, but like yes, you can do it.
Yeah, that's always a good feeling. That's one thing that I really liked about the Real Talk alumni thing that we have for homecoming every year, because we give students that opportunity to connect with alumni and then alumni stories of how life is after college, what it looks like after you graduate, and some things that we even learned during college that still impacts our lives today. So it's really good that you were able to connect with those students, because that was the whole point of the Alumni Real Talk during homecoming, is not only to make an impact with our stories and also build a connection with the current students, but also to give back through donating back to the college foundation so that we can give to those who come after us. So all that's real good. So that's why we need to bring it back, Mario. A hint, hint.
Now we got you. I got you for sure. I'm a support. No, I'm definitely whatever strings I can pull. I definitely got you. But talking about experience, what do you think? Like the number one experience you got from TSU that helps you in business today?
Ooh, that's a loaded question. I would say one of the main things that I learned at TSU is to believe that you can do anything that you put your heart to, regardless of how it looks. Like at TSU, it taught me you got this because you know who you are at this point. It reiterated like the goodness of melanated people and the power that we have and just who we are. Like we some powerful people. And I think TSU reiterated that for me to let me know, like you can do anything you want to. So don't even trip about what's going on in the world. Like you are who you are and keep on pushing to get to the next level.
Morningstar, where do you see Morningstar going? What's your vision for Morningstar? Do you see Morningstar doing other things in the community, not just with providing to minorities as far as college goals or whatnot and guidance and mentorship? Do you see Morningstar expanding into something else? Tell us about it.
Where I see Morningstar in the next few years, actually even sooner than that, we're working on an academy, like a Saturday academy, where we can do classes for students outside of our events and programs that we currently have. Also, too, we're looking for a way to partner or collaborate with school systems so we can do in-school programs similar to, I don't know if you guys know community in schools and stuff like that, but they actually have access to actually providing their programs to students during school hours, not after school programs and stuff like that. So we're looking for different ways to partner with school districts and in various parts of the United States, not just here in Atlanta, but to get back to that, because we actually was in the process of building that collaboration in Detroit. And we also did it here in Atlanta. But when the pandemic hit, it kind of messed up those relationships. And so we're trying to get back to building those collaborations and building that rapport with different schools so we can get back in school during school hours, not after school.
You know, there's this big phenomenon going on where students don't think college is important no more. They feel that all the entrepreneurs, the Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk, like they ain't go to college, but they billionaires. And they like, you know, why do I got to go to college and spend some money to learn something that I might not need because I can just go create something to be a billionaire? Are y'all doing something around some kind of incentive to kind of keep students interested?
So what Morningstar does, we actually give students an opportunity to win scholarships. So we do a pitch competition during our annual youth summit, which is called the I Am a Star Youth Summit. So every year we actually have students compete for scholarships. And the last couple of years, we've been having either 3 or more scholarships that we will give away in the amount of $500. So all they have to do is in 30 seconds, tell us why college is important to them and compete for it. So we have a panel of judges who select the student who wins the scholarships. And the last couple of years, with the help of the pandemic, actually, we've been able to get more money. So we've been able to provide more scholarships. And so for the last 3 years, we probably gave, probably $5,000 in scholarships. It's been a lot. Yeah.
That's awesome. Man.
Mario, we gotta get Starr involved with DJ and his HBCU app.
Yes.
You definitely think you said a tool, Starr, so I was wondering if it's an app, but my line brother, Dr. Darius Brooks, they have an app. It's almost like Facebook's kind of set up, but it's for HBCUs, for students to kind of be in, almost, it's a community, and it's for parents.
What's the name of it?
HBCU Hub. No, it's
Hub.
HBCU Hub.
Yeah, HBCU Hub. Yeah, I'll send you his information. I definitely think y'all need to chat because you already have a system in place with your organization, and this app I think will be a great addition for y'all to collab on. I definitely think it'll be a great collab.
That sounds good. And then to answer the second half of your question, for those students who decide, because let's just keep it real, like college is not for everybody. We already know that, right? People who even think they want to go to college, and then when they get there, they're like, oh man, this is not what I thought it was going to be, right? So one thing about Morningstar, we keep it real. Like we tell students straight up, we know college is not for everybody. That's why we have those different pillars programs where if they wanted to do college prep, they have that opportunity. If they wanted to do the entrepreneurship route, they have that opportunity. If they just want to work for somebody, they have that opportunity through our STEAM career. So we keep it real with the students. Like we know, hey, you may not want to ever go to college, but the chances of you being very successful is greater, in my opinion, if you go to college versus if you try to do this thing by yourself outside of building a network.
What's important thing about my HBCU experience is my network. I mean, I can go probably to any state and there's somebody that lived there that went to TSU around the same time we did. And I can just reach out to them on Facebook, yo, I'm in your city, and they're gonna come out, Yeah, that's probably like the biggest like asset that TSU probably provided. Like, I mean, I was gonna go to the Jacksonville Cowboys game. I'm like, hey Mario, I'm thinking about coming down. He's like, hey, come on in, so I think that's great, that's probably like a real big asset that if you don't go to college, you kind of got to build that kind of through social media, kind of, which I guess is not hard when you get a lot of followers, but you don't really know those people.
That part.
Meeting people on campus, you have a authentic relationship with people that will go on for years. Like you can say, oh, I met you in the student center in 2002. And we probably had not much more interaction after that. But when I see you at home coming 15 years later, it's like, oh, because I met you personally before, So, I just definitely think that's something that you can't get if you don't go to an institution. You don't get that authentic relationship and network.
Where do you see college in the next 10 years? Because, of course, you're on the ground floor. We're talking to college students. You talk to universities. Like, where do you see college in the next 10 years?
I really see college being free in the next 10 years, even though it's a business. The way the world is going, and from my experience, a lot of people are finding other ways to build wealth and to build a name or a brand for themselves. So colleges, in my opinion, they will have to be very creative to get more students to attend their universities, because people ain't gonna want to pay $20,000 a year for a college education for 4 years. That's $80,000 that they have to find money to go to college. People are not going to do that anymore. So at some point, I feel like colleges is going to have to change the game. So if y'all don't know, there's colleges right now who have waived tuition. Like there's colleges now that you don't have to pay. It's basically free education. It's about at least 10 or 12 colleges in the US right now. You can go to college for free.
So to that point, in Tennessee, I know this for sure. My nephew actually got a scholarship that in the state of Tennessee, if you were in the top 10% of your class, you got a full ride to Tennessee State. And I think with some other schools involved, but TSU was the majority. And if you were in the 10% of your class, so my nephew had a 4.0. So he was like number 2 in his class. So he was definitely getting it. But I think him and 10 other students were offered a full ride to TSU for free. And I was telling him, like, that wasn't around when I was in school. I don't know literally personally anyone I went to school with had a full ride. I said, this is a great experience for you because that's not what they were doing when we were in school. But it just goes to show, start back to your point, that they're trying to bring students in like, well, we'll just give it to the people that got 3,000 above free, bring them in. And but the weird thing about it was I was telling my nephew, you got a full ride. I said, you're going to get all your financial aid money back. If you go get the top 10 students at every school, they probably going to get scholarships. They probably going to get, they lower income. They're going to get all the grant money. So they used his scholarship money, his grant money, all that first. And then whatever wasn't covered, they covered. So that's the full ride. And I was just like, smart business model, because TSU ain't just let people go for free. They taking in that money. College is not what it was like in the 90s and the 2000s. Like, I know my experience was.
Let's take it back to the 80s and 70s. Like, college is not what it used to be.
It's not the same. And then these students aren't, getting the same, I guess, experience.
I do got to push back on the free note, because with anything, like when you get something for free, you don't treasure it as much. You don't cherish it as much. You know what I'm saying? So like, I think that's a good idea in theory, but I think you probably have more people dropping out because they ain't pay for it. Like if you pay for it, you're going to push through. So
I know if you dropped that already.
You know what I'm saying?
He dropped that already. He dropped out in under 90 days.
Yeah. I have a student too. She's at Xavier in Louisiana. And she said the same thing to me this past holiday. She was just like, I was like, how's school going? I know it's turned up. I'm like, it's turned up. I'm like, you at Xavier in New Orleans? Let's go. I know it's turned up. And she was like, no, Starr, it's so boring. I'm like, why? I couldn't understand. I'm like, why you say that?
In the student center for 2 hours. Trust me.
Yeah. And she was just like, it's just boring. It's not what I thought college would be. And I was just like, I was like, well, maybe it'll get better. That's all I could tell her. Maybe it'll get better for you. Yeah. But yeah, their mindset, what I found out is that a lot of students' mindset is not what our mindset was during that time. Like when we went to college, like their mindset is on something totally different, and they dealing with way more stuff than we ever dealt with, from a mental health standpoint to a whole bunch of other stuff. So a lot of kids are depressed when they go to college, and, it's just not the same for them. I know when we went, we were like excited, like, yeah, let's turn up. Like, let's go. We grown now. Like, let's get it. I'm going to the club every week.
Exactly. I saw a video on campus. It was homecoming week. It was like on a Tuesday night. Somebody showed like the outside. They was just sitting around looking bored. It was no music playing. I said, homecoming week when I was in school, man, you go in front of Wilson, the dudes with the locals coming up there with the cars. Like you could just sit on the strip and just post up. And it's gonna be a show till you go home. Like it don't end. And I'm like, it ain't the same. Like they showed that one video of like they call it Turnt State University, and they was in the cab and they was swag surfing, and I was like, how many times they done that? Like they seem like they just did that for the gram because basically like this came to be boring.
I ain't gonna tell no lie, that joint looked lit. I was like, man, I wish I was in there. I wanted to be surfing with them.
Like, everybody was sending it to me like, yo, this is TSU. I was like, yeah, I guess it is. TSU. Like it's lit, you know what I'm saying? But
I wonder, I don't even know where mine's at.
I stumbled upon mine, like, I don't know how I got it. Let me see what it like that. Yeah. I stumbled upon it like somehow, and I was like, let me keep it close. I might need it one day.
Right. I'm still a student.
Give me 5 dinner guests, dead or alive, and why.
All right. So I will have Toni Morrison.
Ooh.
Because she is she was a powerhouse speaker, author, writer. I mean, she's just phenomenal. So I will have Toni Morrison. I will have Dr. Dennis Kimbrough, because his mindset is just, I'm like, how does man think like that? Like he's so intellectual, savvy, like stuff that we don't probably necessarily think about, but he think about it and it makes sense. And it's like, man, how you even come up with that concept? But Dr. Dennis Kimbrough, and he's a wealth phenomenal. So Mario Payne, if you don't know him, you need to look him up. Dr. Dennis Kimbrough. He is the author of Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice. He co-wrote that with Napoleon Hill.
Okay.
So you need to, yeah, if you haven't got the book, you need to get that one or The Wealth Choice. They both are really, really good.
Okay.
I will also have, I would love to have Malcolm X at my dinner party. Like, I want him to, like, I want to just.
He's popular. We've had him. He's popular. We had a couple people say they want Dr. Malcolm X at the table.
Yes, like I just want to just have a conversation with him. Of course, I would want to have Michelle Obama at my dinner table, just to have a girl talk really with her, because she just seems like she'd just be down to earth and just have a girl talk like that.
It's a Midwest connection, huh?
Yeah, it's just like she's just a realist to me. So I'm like, I would love to have a conversation with her. And then last, I probably would have King Tut.
Never got that one before.
Yeah, I would want to know everything about our history, like from an ancestral point of view. So yeah.
That's black magic right there, man. You think about like the ingenuity to build the pyramids, like the thought to build them with like no tutorials, no help, just trial and error, man. Like that's
and it still exists today. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's been thousands of years ago.
Thousands of years.
I heard they don't let you do certain things in pictures in front of the pyramids. They said some girl was like trying to twerk or something, like she taking a picture and they were like, nah, like delete the picture. Like it's like a thing.
You can't, like, they don't let you get so far. I mean, they do have like tours where you can go into the pyramid and then you just go into one little small part. I didn't do that because I'm like, what's the point of just sticking your head right there and you can't really go inside the pyramid? But I would say they are very prestige, because I remember I had to cover my head. I couldn't have any skin showing. Yeah, you twerking. I mean, who would want to twerk in front of the pyramid? That's like disrespectful.
Social media.
To a certain degree.
For the gram. Just like that girl, we talked about this, the girl that posed kind of nude in front of the FAMU statue. Did you see that? Yeah, so she had a grad cap on, and the grad cap had rattlesnakes coming out of it, like hair, rattlesnakes, and she had heels on, and she was turned from the back. You could just see her hair, and she kind of looked over her shoulder. And FAMU was like, nah, we don't condone that. Yeah, it was like a big deal. Like,
I did not see that. I don't know where I was at.
In the front of like the FAMU, like, you know how TSU got the wall? Yeah. Like she did in front of FAMU, Rattler, FAMU, like she did in front of that. Like at nighttime, she did when nobody was there at nighttime.
She had some good lighting at the nighttime too. She was at about like
she had playing that thing out.
About the kid. I need the ring light. I need the small light. You know what I'm saying?
She probably had a professional.
Definitely did, because I ain't gonna lie, when I saw it, I was like, picture looks good. I mean, the quality, everything was popping. I was like, it's kind of cool. She had the snakes coming out the gray head. I was like, very thoughtful.
She had Louboutins on too. She was like, nah, these ain't regular heels.
You know what I'm saying? Billy Mario, her followers probably went up.
Facts. She might be on a reality show because of that, man.
You already know.
And that's why you twerk in front of the pyramid. So it's funny. I was in Mexico, and like they have like the Tulum, the Mayan ruin of one of the pyramids, and like they don't let people walk up that on the more because like Justin Bieber, because it always comes back to Justin Bieber. But like he went to the top and then skateboarded down. It was like a huge fiasco. So like they don't let nobody climb up that either no more.
Right.
Justin Bieber. I like Bieber at it again.
I mean, it's a form of disrespect. Like everybody's trying to do something for social media followers or likes and all that stupid stuff. Like, nah, you got to still respect the ground that you're walking on. Like you got people who, you know, probably sacrifice so much for them to have like pyramids and whatever they have, whatever type of monument. But yeah, you can't be disrespectful like that.
Speaking of monuments, what y'all think about the new monument?
What is this?
Yeah, that's what probably a lot of us said. What is this?
Hold on, what is this, bro?
What is that?
So,
His hands?
looking at it, you don't know what it is. So, it's supposed to be a tribute to Martin Luther King. It's supposed to be Martin Luther King, Coretta Scott King hugging, but no heads. So, it's supposed to be thought provoking. But that ain't what it looked like.
Wait.
If you can't look at it from the right angle to see the arms, but if you look at it from any other angle, it just looks weird. So, yeah.
Why would they do that like that?
Yeah, everybody was like, why, like, that they was like, why have a monument where you take a kid to it, they gotta be like, what is it? Or, you know, what am I looking at? You want a monument to see it and you know what it is.
You can see the hands, but it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And from what I was told, a black man didn't do it.
MLK one down in DC, a black man, it was a Chinese dude did it.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember I heard about that. They changed his face a couple times. They said he looked too aggressive.
Yeah.
What?
You didn't know about that?
I didn't know they said that. No.
They said he looked too aggressive, so they like chiseled his face a little better so he looked more subtle. Yeah,
that's just like in Egypt, how they changed the faces of. Oh God, these people are crazy. I know. I'm trying to be calm.
What is this, man? This is a little weird.
Everybody been talking about it. It's like, it's been floating around, man, and everybody been like, "What is this? What it looks like?" You know, and from any angle, you can't tell what it is, but from a certain angle, you can literally see his arms, like kind of. It looks.
Yeah,
man,
I can see it, but it's like,
and it's in Boston, out of all places, so
right.
It looks weird, man. And you would think, like, to do something like this, you have to have a board. You got to have so many people sign off on it. Like, you would think, how many people were African American? How many people was alphas? You know what I'm saying? Like, oh man.
Yeah. And then too, the family had to sign off on it too. So let's talk about that.
Facts. Oh man.
Nobody probably going to see it. You like, yeah, I'm cool. I can't really tell what it is, so I don't want to see that. I mean, think of the kids. They like, you know, you take a kid there, they're gonna be like, okay, what is this?
Yeah, like what is? I mean, it's more questions than answers. Like
right.
Like something like this, I think it defaces. Even though it stays.
I wouldn't be surprised if they do something else to it to kind of.
They would have to.
They have to. Like, you know, it's not the end of it because it's like the money you can be. I'm pretty sure they can add to it. So I wouldn't be surprised if they don't do something to it because of all the negative press has been getting.
That's terrible.
What can they do? Are they gonna pick it up and then put their hands on it and then put it back? Like,
I mean, but with the MLK thing, they kept it there, of course, but they like covered it like real good, and I guess the guy was like inside, like doing his thing, and so then they unveiled it.
Oh, okay.
You couldn't see what they were doing, but they built something around it. Yeah, so probably do the same thing if they add something to it.
I feel you, Mario. Like, who approved this? Like, what board would approve this? But the people who smiling in front of it as if they happy about it. It's a white man and a black lady and a black man.
Well, I guess in the words of Offset and Cardi B, they do everything for clout. This is definitely clout because this is I can't believe this.
Man,
I think they unveiled it on Martin Luther King Day.
If you had one homecoming to go to out of all the homecomings, what would it be? And number two, if you had one homecoming to be a corporate sponsor, what would that be?
I've been to Howard homecoming, so I'm definitely not choosing that. I think we got the best homecoming.
With the stamp on it.
I mean, I'm just saying, I think we have the best homecoming, TSU. So I would choose TSU homecoming, of course. And then what was your second question?
If you had to be a corporate sponsor of one HBCU homecoming, what would that be?
Now, that would be different because I would choose a HBCU that doesn't get much recognition just so they can get their name out there. So I don't even know what off the top of my head, like what HBCU doesn't get as much clout as we just said or recognition, but that would be the one that I would sponsor.
Like a Lane College, I guess.
Lane probably get more clout than some others.
It's crazy that question or how you answer the question because we ask people that and they usually say like the most lit homecoming they want to be a part of. But that just shows like your kindred spirit, how you want to help people that need help. You want to help the disadvantaged, because you're not going towards what's going to give you the most pub, the most clicks, the most recognition. You want to go for the schools that need help the most. So that just kind of shows your spirit and how you really want to help people.
Yeah.
And to say, before we let Starr off here, I've been knowing Starr, man, for a long time, and I've seen her in her most vulnerable moments and down moments and best moments, and you know, she be late, but she always like to help people. You know, she's always wanted to find a way to get back to us. And when she came up with her organization, I mean, I can't say I had an entrepreneur spirit at that time. I just thought you work for somebody and get to the top that way. And she was never on that path. She wanted to create her own thing, and she created from the ground up. And, you know, she kept watering it, you know, until people really understood like it's not going anywhere. You know, giving back, you know, she you know, it goes to show like that's what you always been about, you know, not something like a nonprofit. Like you like, I don't care. I just want to help people. I want to create something that's sustained through helping people. And
right.
just want to give your flowers and tell you that, you know, I've seen your journey, and to see where it started and where it's grown to be. And, you know, like I said, keep pushing, keep going. Don't think that people aren't watching you from afar, because I am. And I admire your entrepreneur spirit, because like I said, you've been saying it for years. You don't want to work for nobody. You don't want to work for nobody. And you create your own thing. And, you know, you pouring water into it and letting it continue to grow. Hats off to you for, you know, creating something that's giving back.
I appreciate that. Now, so this got to be the last year that I work for somebody, since we put it out there in the atmosphere again. Put it out there. This got to be the last year.
Put it to the atmosphere. Put it to the atmosphere.
Oh, God. Mario know that story, too. I've been telling him, too, like, man, I need to get out this corporate world. But, yeah, I appreciate those kind words. And, yeah, once I mean, anybody who knows me, once I start something, I'm like dedicated to it for forever, especially until I see it to the level that I want it to grow at. I'm gonna always be doing Morningstar. I'm gonna always be writing books from this point forward. I'm gonna always give back, and I'm gonna always, you know, be there for those who are there for me. So, yeah.
And we got to leave it there. I mean, what way to end it besides my ID? I show the ID card. New ID. That's the board member ID. You know what I'm saying? Things change.
Hey.
You know what I'm saying?
So everybody got that.
Yeah, nah, it's cool.
I'm trying to get on Mario level.
I'm trying to write a book. I'm trying to be like you. I'm trying to write a book.
Look, we can help each other.
Yeah. Man, that's slick. That's slick. But now the next book you write, we got to talk, man. You got to use open chat GPT. You know what I'm saying? You can write a book like in 5 minutes. That artificial intelligence is the wave. Another show though. But anyways, though, we want to give our flowers to Starr. You are awesome. You are amazing.
You
are a shining star. No matter who you are, that is you. Congratulations on all your success. You have a lot of great things to do after. So I just want to say again, appreciate what you do for the school and for our show, our culture, HBCU. HBCU stands for Homecoming Brings Culture and Unity, and Starr unites us all. So everybody, peace, click, subscribe. You guys got
HBCU culture.
Peace, y'all.